Welcome to the Manager Matt podcast show. The show is designed to give you solutions to your day-to-day management and leadership problems. It's hosted by Matthew Haddock, a frontline manager and leader with over 25 years of experience. If you're ready, then let's get on with the show.
Welcome to the Manager Matt podcast show. I do hope you are well. Today's show is a Friday thought, or a Saturday thought, or a Monday thought. Whenever you are listening to this podcast, you'll be able to do it. This podcast is all about you as members of a community of people who love to talk around and get involved in leadership and management. And I've always set this up for you guys out there. And thank you for the feedback that you've given me over the past few weeks about the show. Been bumping into people randomly and talking about the show, and it's been great. 5 years or so I've been doing this now, which, wow, it seems a long time now, 5 years. But I think people have got benefit out of it, and you've kept listening. But of course, please share it wherever you get these podcasts from. Share them on, get others involved. If you're having management problems, because you get challenged every day by your directs and by others, please send this on to others who might want to listen to it and learn all about how I have managed to be a leader for over 25 years. Today's show, it's going to be off the cuff. There's no real script to today's show. It's going to be really kind of a random one because I've been working for myself over a couple of years now, and I've been into some great businesses, lots of different businesses. Each of them have their own unique challenges, but each of them also have their own sort of synergies, things that are the same. One of the things I've noticed a lot is the fact that processes are there in different ways. You get great processes in some places, you get absolute focus on process, and then get others who don't have many processes. It's very much off the cuff. Which is best? This is the question I've been asking myself. Is there a balancing point? Most people and most things in life, they'll say, what is the best approach? And they always say, it depends. If you're talking about fitness influencers, the good ones, not the ones that you see on YouTube that like lift a dumbbell for 3 times once a week and have got these amazing bodies. Guys, that's not real. But, they'll always say, what's the best exercise? Well, it depends. Same with the diet. What's the best diet? Well, it depends. There's some fundamentals that you have to have. And I think it's the same when it comes to processes over behaviours. You can have the best processes in the world. You can have things written down in stone. You can have manuals coming out of your ears. You can have huge SOPs around how you do something. But if people don't do it, the behaviours are not there, then it won't succeed. So what does that mean for you as a leader? Yes, I'm not saying you shouldn't have any processes and procedures. Of course you should. You've got to have those things. You've got to have a bedrock. It's going to be around the safety, the quality, the running of the machines, the maintenance of them. They've got to be there. But is there a point where you have too many and your people are actually more doing processes than actually doing behaviours? And that's what I've found. I found in some businesses I've gone in, they'll have a great big manual there and it'll tell you what's got to be done and this, that and other. It's usually gathering dust on the side of a machine. It hasn't been looked at for years. Or it's in the induction pack that people forget because it's your first day or second day. So the really good businesses move on from that. They do have the processes, but they also measure the behaviours. You've got to look at the behaviours of the people and the actions that they take day in, day out. That's where you get the benefit of understanding what it is. It's not ticking a box to say we've got a process out. It's a fact that you need to watch the behaviours and see what the people are actually doing. That's where you will see the successes and also the failures. You will see what is happening against what should be happening. On the reverse, I've been in businesses with no processes, and it is chaos. It's got absolute chaos. As I said, it's got about balance. You've got to make sure it's right. I've had to put processes in places because they didn't. They had 3 or 4 systems. None of them were right. None of them were talking to each other. Surprise, surprise, there's errors all the way through because they had none. The people went and did what they wanted. Person A had come in, they'd do it a certain way, and person B had turned in, do it a different way. And funnily enough, you didn't get consistency. You didn't get the results. Operations especially is around consistency. It's about boring and consistent sometimes. You repeat the same thing in the same way, you get the same results. And that is the same with everything. And this is where we've got to kind of look ourselves in the mirror as leaders and go, have I got that balance right? Am I too process driven? Am I obsessed with the processes to the point where they're not really real? They're not adding value. They're in theory on a system or in a paper log or on an app. Or have I got too little? Have I got not enough? So that the people are doing their own thing and consistency is not there. You'll find it normally when you look at your metrics. What are the big things? Do you get thousands of complaints? Usually because you haven't got enough process. Do you get really good processes, but you're lacking actual outcomes? And maybe you've got too many that's bogging it down. And what do you do then? Well, you've got to do the right thing. You've got to do the audit of what is enough and what is too much, what is not enough, for instance, and needs improving, where are the gaps, and what are too heavy and need to be slimmed down. A couple of years ago, I worked with a business, and that's exactly what we had to do, was go in and slim it down. There was a mass of processes that repeated themselves. We had an army of people doing them, and they overlapped so heavily. So you were training the people against processes, but they overlap so heavily. So the first thing we did with the teams was, let's have a look at what really adds the value. Where are the ones that have got to happen, the real go-tos that must happen, or you're going to fail? And you look at those and you say, have we got repeaters in there? Have we got things that we can take out? It does take a lot of time to do this, but you will get better results at the end because you're slimming it down to the real important things that have to happen, the real important ones that need to be done to make sure you've got a safe product, you've got safe people, and you're delivering the results. So I've done that with the teams. On the reverse, when you've got none, where do you start? Well, again, start from the things that are going to really add the value, the really important things that must happen. If it's a business that has certain regulations that have to happen, then obviously you start with those. If that's around a safety, a risk assessment, so you don't injure anyone, that's going to be one of the paramounts that you're going to have. And you train people to those standards. But get the people involved in them. The amount of people, and look, let's face it here, a lot of time these are operators, they're in there, they know what they're going to do, or even if they don't, they know that this is what the business does. And they'll get a piece of paper put in front of them with maybe some pictures that says, this is the process you've got to do, and they'll sign it and send it back in. Take dummy signing. Do they really read them? I found sometimes they don't. They're not really. You do get some people who actually pull up and go, this is wrong. This is completely wrong. But some others have said it's right. So what is the one best way? How do you do that? How do you get that one best way for your teams? And it is around a time-consuming way of watching it. Go out onto the shop floor or the sales floor or wherever you work and watch the guys doing the jobs. What do they do? What are the real basic stuff that they have to do every day? What checks do they need to do? Are they duplicating checks? Is there too many checks? Or are there not enough checks? Are we not checking the real important things? A real one that comes out, you might have seen this, is when you've got to do a safety check at the start of the day. And it might be 6 pages. And you get them back into your workshop or into your office and they've all been ticked and signed every day. And it'll say something like, emergency stops are working on the machine. Now you go walk out there. Really good idea. Walk out, watch them. Look at your machines. How many emergency stops are on those machines? Some may say, maybe 7, 8, 10. And work out how long it would take to run the machine, press emergency stop, go back, take the emergency stop off, start it again. It could be 10 minutes, 15 minutes. When you look at the start times, they started in 5 minutes. But every sheet says they've checked every emergency stop. They obviously haven't. Or they're just not even looking at any of them. They're the worst. So it's about focusing on the important things. If you go watch a check being done, funnily enough, it'll take 15 minutes and someone will do every single one of them. Or if you've got really good relationships with your people, they might be honest and go, nah, we don't do that. It says on the paper we do, but we don't. I worked with a business not long ago. They said exactly that. I talked to the operator when, what's this process we've got to do then? Yeah, I do one of them. He says I've got to do it every half an hour, but I do it every hour. I never find out wrong. No one's ever said out. So something's wrong there. Either the process that they were doing is, needed to be done and should have been done every hour, or it's not really that important. Maybe it could be done every hour. Real key important ones. I walked around with a senior manager once in a business, going back a while. and they were talking me through their processes. And they went, oh, this is the one we're supposed to do, but nobody does it. So, well, why is it there? A customer wants us to do it. I said, well, you don't do it, do you? No, but when customers come round, we tell them we do it. I'm like, wow. You'd rather just lie to the faces, pretend. What kind of relationship are you building if you're doing that? That's scary, isn't it? But it happens, and the customers are none the wiser. The only time it'll really bite them in the backside is when something goes wrong. And then you are backpedaling, because whatever that process was meant to stop, if it hasn't stopped it, they're going to ask, who, why, what, where? Why is it not done? We said it were going to be done. Why have you not done it? You've said all this time these things are done. It becomes a bit of a problem, doesn't it? So check that the processes that you are doing are relevant, they're needed, they add value. The people know how to do the processes and trained against the most important processes. You are overloading people with nonsense or processes that are out of date or processes that don't really work, because then that will be the focus for those people. If you've got planned maintenance that people need to do, make sure they can do it. Make sure they've got the tools to do it and the time to do it. But make sure it is the important things they need to do, because there's no point in doing planned maintenance that is check bearing. Well, how do you check a bearing? You can look at it, you can maybe wiggle it about if it's in a place, but it doesn't really stop anything failing. It's not really a preventative maintenance, is it? And it's the same with the cleaning. If it's cleaning a certain thing that's important to clean, then make sure that you've got the equipment, the time and the training to do it, and it's safe to do it. If it's something that doesn't need doing every day, then don't do it every day. Do it every other day or every week. Those are the places where you do it. And again, back to my point, and I'll always bat on with this. Go see, go look, go spend time, walk in the shoes of the people doing the work. You will see it. Ask the people the questions. Why do we do this? And if they don't know, there's a problem. They need to know why they're doing it. They need to know why it's important. People do things because they're told to do it, you could say, because that's what they do every day. But if they really understand why they do it and they get it, they get the importance of it, they get why it's important from a safety, from a customer perspective, from a quality, whatever that might be, a cost, they'll understand it more and, of course, be more committed to doing it the right way, the right time. Because you'll get a culture where they'll watch behaviours. A new person comes in and that person doesn't do that check. They train the next person not to do that check or to tick the box that says, I've done it, when they don't do it. You know, they do that a lot. So by watching them, the big key players, you know, the real important lean companies do that. They go out and watch a process being done and then they tweak it and affect it. I don't get this when you get people in offices writing SOPs, so standard operating procedures, when they're not even on the lines. They're not there with the people. They should watch the person do that job for the time of the shift or whenever they're doing that act and then map the operating procedure to it. If they're not, the procedures, of course, are going to be wrong. Of course, they're going to miss steps out because they're doing it in an office. Never nowhere near the thing happening. About 2 years ago, I had the same thing. The technical guy were going mental with us because operations had made an error. They hadn't followed the process. And when you looked at the process, it didn't have half the stuff that should have happened. When you challenged it, oh, well, no one said, oh, well, didn't you go out there and watch it? Oh, no, we did it a while back. It's been done like that for ages. Everyone signed it. Again, disconnect. Get busy doing stuff. But behaviours, that's the key. Behaviours. Right, that's a little bit of an insight in my thoughts when it comes to how you can make sure your processes are really aligned, and too much or too little. Where is the balance? In life, we need to find the balance. What is the one which will really add the value, and which are the ones that are not? Which are the stuff that has to be there and done, and which are the stuff that's not really adding value and could do with being dropped? Well, I hope you don't drop this podcast off your listening list, because that would be really bad. But if you have got any feedback on how you find these things happen at work in your own situations, then obviously you can get me at managermattpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for the guys who have emailed. Been brilliant, engaging on some of those topics. I will try to knit them in to some future shows. But of course, make sure you share it on wherever you get it. And if you want to put comments on the provider of the podcast, I'm not sure how to read them, I must be honest, but I'm sure I can figure it out. Or you can get me on LinkedIn. It's Matthew Haddock at LinkedIn. Really happy to engage on people on there, because that's one of the big things I think LinkedIn gives you, is a community of like-minded people who can share ideas around how we can improve business, make it better for people, make it better for the customer, and make sure that we are delivering results. Well, thank you so much for listening to this show. I will be seeing you soon, but for now, goodbye.
Thank you so much for listening to this Manager Matt podcast. We hope you found it interesting, helpful and actionable. One last thing, please leave a quick review on iTunes or with your podcast provider, as it helps to spread the word of Manager Matt. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the podcast, and if you did like anything in particular, send an email to managermattpodcast@gmail.com or visit managermatt.co.uk for more content. Feedback is a gift, so let's keep giving. See you next week.